Karen Munro-Caple. Well, I've known Karen many years, and we just laugh. And anyway, she's just an amazing person. You are going to find out in just a moment. And she became a registered massage therapist in Ottawa, Canada, back in 2001. And prior to that, I love telling this because it's fascinating, is she enjoyed a 20-year career in the animation film biz. She worked on Scooby-Doo, Inspector Gadget, and Babar's Christmas, just to name a few. And I remember when we were hanging out and I lived in Ottawa that you used to have a team working under you, and then the Hollywood types would come over to Ottawa. To Ottawa and use film their voices for the animation movies you were making. Anyway, it sounded fascinating. But today, now she just shifted her entire her life back in 2001 and gave that up and became more of a healer. She wanted to help people heal. And she offers workshops also, and keeping the humor and healing, busts, boobs, and bazooms, the care, feeding, and herstory of the breast. I love that. And she's got a comic book out she just released recently called The Lighter Side of the Pandemic, or what day is it again? And it's all illustrated by her fabulous drawings. But I love talking with her because she'll take any opportunity to be seriously silly, like she likes to give talks on keeping the surprise in masturbation. Anyway, that makes me laugh. I'd love you all to welcome Karen Munro-Caple, Humour and Healing. Take it away, Karen.
Thank you very much. Well, yeah, Wendy and I have gone back a long, long way. I remember, Wendy, when you were just starting your musical career, and you were, must have been some benefit or something. You were on a little tiny stage. You had just begun to do this, and so you were kind of nervous, and you wanted to sit down. You didn't want to be standing, so you sat down, you had your guitar, and you had your music on a stand in front of you. You probably don't do that anymore, but you did then because you felt secure having it in front of you. And you did a song and it was well received. And then you got a little nervous and you bumped the little stand for your music, and it fell off. The music fell off onto the ground. But of course, it didn't just fall off the ground. It came down like a leaf out of a tree, this kind of, whoo, 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 whoo. So it felt like an eternity, because I'm watching you, your eyes are big with panic. No one else is really caring, but you're like totally freaking. But you got through, you collected it up, and you managed to get through it. And now 30 years later, here you are putting together this fabulous festival. So I just love the fact that you've come so far. You've come a long way, baby. So I wasn't really sure why Wendy had asked me to do this presentation, because I thought, well, what are my qualifications really? I mean, I guess the only thing is that I know how to have sex and I know how to laugh. So I guess that, that justifies my my being here at the moment. Humor really does make such a huge difference on how we all feel about everything every day. And I find that I use humor a lot in the way I interact. I'm a massage therapist. When I have somebody on the table, it happened one time and then I use it all the time now. I always say, take a nice full breath in right into your belly. But I got mixed up once and I said, take a nice full breath in into my belly. And I thought, okay, that's not right. And they started to laugh and I laughed, and we had, but you know what? I use that little joke every time now that I have a new client, and I watch to see how they react. And sometimes they'll have a big guffaw on the table and the body kind of bounces. And other times, nothing. They don't respond. I knew they heard me, but they don't respond. And so that gives me a lot of information about how I'm going to be interacting with them. And just laughter is a way to just keep everything so much looser and every day, and sex is included in that. It's so seen as such a terribly serious topic, and it is. I'm not going to underestimate that, but I think we take ourselves so terribly seriously. It is fun to be able to just break out of that a little bit. And I was doing a little bit of research, and I was finding that they're using humor as a teaching tool for a lot of sexual education around the world now, which they didn't do. And I'm very grateful for that, because again, that fits with that old paradigm of how things ought to be. And there's a few people kind of breaking out of that and changing it. So today, basically, I'm going to chat a little bit, and then a little bit later on down into my time, I want to show you some laughter yoga. And then I'd like to open up, but there's not too many of us, so I think we'll check with Mike, but we could probably open up the mics and have people tell us some funny stories that happened in their world for during sex. Because we all have something that it's in our history that we all kind of laugh about, but we have to pick the audience, right? How many times over a dinner party do you tell those stories? Often we don't. When he was talking, I did think about, now what do I talk about? Well, we could talk about, how does one keep the surprise in masturbation? You could jump out from behind mirrors, or you could use unfamiliar hand puppets. You could use your left hand instead of your right hand. I like this one. If you have a bowl full of information, little bits of paper inside a bowl, and you just pull out randomly household items, like there's the lawnmower, and there's the egg beater, and there's the remote control. Okay, go do something with those sexually. And I go, okay, that could be fun with a partner too. One of the main things I think that's so important around sexuality, and Francesca was talking about this, is communication is such a big deal. And often people aren't able to say what it is that they want to say. And I had a funny incident happen. I'm doing my massage. This guy comes in. I'm thinking that he's gay because of where he said he got my name. But anyway, he's on the table. I'm working away. And he says, I was starting to realize, I didn't realize at first, but he was actually wanting a happy ending. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm not really getting it. And he's saying, do you accept tips? And I'm going, oh, well, no, thank you. That's very nice of you, but no, I don't. The other girl accepted tips. And I go, oh, well, that's really good. Good for you. That's great. And he said, well, I won't tell anybody that I gave you a tip. And I go, well, okay, now I'm catching on. This guy wanted a happy ending, but I wasn't cluing in. And I said, oh man, I'm really sorry. I'm not your gal. I'm a big old dyke. And it's been a while since I've, handled those gentlemen's bits. And it's not personal. It's not that I don't like you. You're a very nice fella. I just would rather you not be attached to it. You know what I mean? I'd really rather have like a nice little vibrator, a little battery operated, or maybe a plug-in that's just got a little more oomph to it, like or better yet, the diesel Dyke 5000. You put oil and gas in that thing, and it just ring, it can go all day long, and it's just fabulous. But this guy, he still was really wanting that happy ending. So I tucked him in and I read him Goodnight Moon. And I thought, well, that's just going to have to do, because it wasn't really he wasn't paying me enough, I can tell you. And another fun place that you can go with your partner to just look around is some of the sex stores, to just see what do they have. And I love those places because often they're beautifully painted, and they have nice lighting, and they have nice music pumped in, and you're looking around at all these weird and wonderful things, and you turn and you're like, holy jeez, what the hell is that? You're wondering, some kind of strange apparatus that you're trying to figure out where all the bits go. And I think, Wendy, you probably could have some kind of workshop on how those kind of fandangle equipment works. And the important thing is that you really want to read the instructions, because you do not want any kind of facial reconstruction after working with that. No limbs being torn off. You just really want to know what you're doing. And it's always fun to look at items and just make up stories as to what they're actually, used for. A lover of mine got all excited. We went into one of those stores and she said, oh, there's some of those anal love beads. Those are great. We could do those. And they, you stuff them up your bum hole and then you pop them out as, at those crucial moments. And I'm thinking, my God, that it felt like I would be being turned on, plop, 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 like a ceiling fan or something, that kind of those little chains. I wasn't sure if that was really something I wanted, but one of the things that I find fun is, role playing and dress up, and it can be very elaborate. But way back in the day, with a lover of mine, I decided I wanted to play a nun. I thought, I'm not Catholic. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I thought, oh, that'll be fun. So I go in the other room and I'm thinking, well, what do I have that will make this work for me? So I thought, I need a little white cap and I need black cloth over my head. So I thought, okay, the only thing I had was white underpants. So I put the white underpants on, and then I put this nice cloth over my head. And then I come into the room, and the poor soul just could not get past the underwear band over my head. She just got laughing so hard that we had a lot of laughs, but we never did get off on that nun. It just, the moment was lost. And, oh, and dear God, we have got to be able to have a sense of humor around sex as we age, because things can go terribly wrong when you're older having sex. It isn't absolute, but there are things like, which thing is going to come first, me or the cramp in my leg? You just never know how these things are going to play out. And a few years ago, I thought, it's been a while since I needed to get in shape. And I decided I'm going to go to Aquafit. And I went to a pool near me. And I don't know if you guys have ever done Aquafit, but the water is often a bit warm because of a lot of the old folks, the elderly folks, swim around and do the Aquafit. Well, it sort of looked like boob soup, because all these old ladies were their boobs were sort of floating around on the top. And some of the gentlemen actually were all kind of floating around on the top there too. So I'm thinking, well, I'm not that old. So I'm standing there and the Aquafit instructor is up on the ledge. She's not in the water. So this is where I sort of discovered that I'm not as young as I was once and how things have changed, because she starts to get moving. The music's on and she starts to go back and forth. And I think, oh, I can do that. So I'm going back and forth. But I got partway over here and I realized that my breasts and belly were still on the other side. And I couldn't believe it. And then I come back and they cross and pass me. Oh, hey, how you doing? And I'm going back and forth and I'm crisscrossing my bits all over the place. But I think, okay, everything's okay. If I can just maintain this line of action, I'm good. But then, of course, our little Aqua Bunny instructor, who has no body fat and no water resistance, decides to change directions, and she starts going up and down, and I start going up and down. Well, all hell broke loose. It was tits and ass everywhere. I'm all over the place. I'm getting whopped in the face with the breasts. I go too close to the lady beside me, and we get all tangled up. And I end up, we were so tangled up, it took us about a week to get untangled. And it was actually pleasant because now we're dating, and that well worth it. And speaking of breasts, again, that whole age thing, when ladies, this, when they're young, they're up high and they're looking out at the world and they're winking at the girls and they're wonderful but then as we age, not that I've had any complaints, but they do change. And mine have lowered down, and I call them my seeing eye breasts, because now they're looking at the ground, they're helping me out. Oh, what's that? What's that? Oh, don't step on that piece of gum. Oh, there's a quarter, pick it up. So they're actually helpful, but they're not the breasts I once had. That's the bottom line. And some of the funniest things I've ever seen, actually, sexually, is porn. Some of the porn is just so bizarre that you think, really? Does that actually work that way? And you get some dude that thinks this is real, and he goes home to his girlfriend thinking, okay, we're going to try this with Betty Sue. and discovered that Betty Sue would rather, she just feels at this point, we might as well just call an ambulance because this is not going to work. That's going to kill me. I'm not going to be able to do that. And it's not actually real. So sometimes the reality and the porn don't really kind of match up, but they can be a lot of fun to watch, especially if you turn the sound off and you just dub it with your own dialogue. That can be a lot of fun. Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was laughter yoga. I mentioned that at the beginning. I don't know if any of you are familiar with laughter yoga. It was created by a Dr. Madan Katria, and in 2003, he wrote Laughter is the Best Medicine. And he really felt that this was an important book, but he realized left to itself, people really couldn't, they didn't have something to laugh at. The book itself didn't mean anything. People culturally tend to think there has to be something to laugh at. So he started to do his own research, and he came across a fellow who talked about the physicality of laughing and said that the body cannot differentiate between real laughter and pretend laughter. And so he went, ding, 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 there's something about that. So he connected up with his wife, her name was Madhuri, and she was a yoga teacher. And so they created this whole process called laughter yoga, which is laughter with no reason, no jokes, no funny stories, no comedy, it's all about just feeling better. It's more an exercise more than it's for entertainment. And it does, at first, I've done this before, and it does feel kind of contrived, kind of fake at first, which it is. But when we laugh really hard, we're using the same muscles we use for sex. And it is a great way to activate all of those muscles and get us in shape for the things that we really love to do. And it makes us feel really good. During this last few years, the amount of stress that we've all been under is just amazing. And it releases a lot of cortisol. And there's nothing wrong with that because we need that, but we've had too much. And doing these sort of things like laughter yoga helps, or having a really good orgasm helps move that through the system. So hang on, let me have a little sip here.
One thing that might be helpful,
what's that?
Is to get us used to, when you're saying it, it's an odd shift to start laughing about nothing, is I remember somebody telling me, and I used it last year at the Sacred Sexual Music Festival, was to have a string, imagine a string and putting it through one ear and then through the other.
I'm going to do that. Oh! I'm way ahead of me, girlfriend.
Okay, I'm ready.
Keep with me, hang on. Okay, so wait for it. There's four steps to this. There's clapping, breathing, playfulness, and laughter yoga exercises. That's where that part comes in. But we're going to get there. Hold on to your string. So the first thing we do is that if you care to join me with this, sit up straight, get a nice comfortable position, and just start to brush your shoulders off. Brush them right down. And what we're doing is symbolically brushing away judgment. We have a lot of judgment about how we show up, especially if we're laughing or we're doing something. We're kind of, good laughter is losing an element of control, like sex. And a lot of people find that very hard to show up in front of other people like that. So this is just brushing away that judgment, brushing away worry, stress, fear, all of that. So we've de-stressed. And now we're going to stimulate the pressure points in our hands. So have them nice and wide and just clap. You can feel how your hands are starting to get a little tingly. So the next thing is that we're going to add sound. We're going to go ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. And with the emphasis on the ha part. So and you push your diaphragm out and go ha really hard, it pushes the stale air out of your lungs and up and out. And we often don't breathe very deeply, and we breathe up here, and this air that's left down there doesn't get moved. So we want to move it out. So we'll just start to clap. And now we add the sound. Ho, ho, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. So you can feel that ha sound coming out, and it just lifts you up a bit. And so the next bit is about, they call this gradient laughter. It's about starting small and with your mouth closed, and we're working in a little lower register. So then we'll do that, or do it with a little bit more open mouth, and we'll go a little bit bigger. So you're going to feel that go. And if you find that when you get this kind of fake laughing, you may well tip into some real laughter, and that's a bonus. I have an extremely ticklish funny bone, and I can start laughing at the drop of a hat. So sometimes just listening to another couple giggle at the next table will get me going. As Wendy well knows, I am very ticklish when it comes to laughter. So we're going to start out with low, with our mouth closed. So it's now take a breath, open up your mouth a little bit. Take another full breath in. And this time we're going to open the mouth wider and louder. You're very, very good at this. So you can feel how, as you're moving the air around, you're also increasing your blood flow. And that moves the oxygen, that's the word, oxygen through your body. So that's really good. You want to get that kind of stimulated. So the next one is called open heart laugh. So we bring our hands out, we bring our hands to our chest, and then we open wide with a big laugh. And we're going to do that about 4 times. So open out, come in tight, inhale. Okay, take a breath, come back in. And okay. I heard somebody get phlegmy there, and that's good. That's if I laugh too hard, I get phlegmy. I don't know if it's because I was, I had red hair when I was a kid. That's my theory. So this next one, so we got the lungs going, we got the heart beating, we got the blood flowing. This next one is about the abdominal muscles. You know how when you have a whole laughing fit, you get laughing at a time when you're not supposed to be laughing. You're laughing in church or in the synagogue or at a funeral. You put the fun back in funeral, and you're oh geez, because I have to really keep it a lid on it. So this next exercise is we're gonna hold our abdomen, and we're not going to make any noise, but we're gonna laugh really hard. So take a breath in. Okay, all righty then. So it just gets everything cooking. So now we're getting close to yours, Wendy, but we're not quite there yet. This next one is called a brain wash. So this is where we're going to laugh with our brains. We're going to, because those poor old brains, they have been filled with COVID and worry and fears. So we're going to just get that right out of there. So we're going to make sound with it. So I want you to put your hands on your head like you're going to hold a zipper. And when we move that zipper, we're going to go, eh? Okay. So then we're going to unzip the top of our head, eh? And then we're going to open up, eh? And we're going to take out that A and put it into our hand. And isn't that the most beautiful brain you ever saw in your life? As brains go. You can open up your head now, Wendy.
Oh.
And then that's good. That's perfect. So now get a lovely brush, soft bristle brush, and start to brush that and laugh. Oh, isn't that just a beautiful, clean, all of that nonsense is cleared out of there, and it's fabulous. Now we gotta, don't forget to put her back in, right? So the and so we zip ourselves back in. Totally missed what I do. So now, Wendy, this is your big moment. We've brushed our brain. Now we need to floss. I have a mental floss. So we get some mental floss, and put it in your hands. There, you got it. Okay. Now, put it on your head. And now, floss. Okay, and now you can take it off and set it aside. Don't let the cat eat it. They'll be up for vet bills with those things. So those are ways that you can. No, it's very extensive. You can do all kinds of stuff. But hang on, water, please. All that laughing has gotten me dry. Now, laughing at things that are funny or amusing, that's one thing. But sometimes, there's a lot of shit going down that isn't particularly funny. But sometimes if you laugh at those things, it can change how you feel about it. And the major topics are relationships, money, and health. And sexuality kind of falls into the health and relationships in there. And when things aren't going very well, they can tend to be very heavy and very serious, very serious. So take something like that. Okay, so let's say you just opened up a bill. You're looking at that bill and you're going, oh God, I can't pay that bill. If I do pay that bill, I'm not going to be able to pay something else. So you look at that bill and you go, So everybody get your bill in your hand. And it's way too high. Yes, I can see. He's got a real bill. The bill remains, and you still haven't paid it, but you feel better about it. You feel better about it, right? Your whole body changes. Instead of going, oh shit, you go, well, okay, there it is. You don't have to get caught up in it. A lot of people feel during sexuality and for their sexuality, they get very anxious about the way they look. Because, I was anxious about the way I looked when I was younger, and I was smaller and cuter way back then. And now I'm going, oh my God, and I wasted all that time. But we get worried about it, right? So take a look at yourself and go, So you take any kind. One of the ones I like is when you got in a relationship that you're not happy about. You're really pissed off with your partner, and you're going, oh, you just want to. So you just wag your finger. It doesn't have to be at them. It can be at anything quietly by yourself. But okay, everyone find that person. Go, Okay, all right. So, you can see how if you do that kind of laughter, even every day, you don't need a reason. You just can create that feeling, and the body doesn't care, doesn't know, doesn't understand the difference between a fake laugh and a real laugh. So I'm curious now, we've got a lot of you off mic. I'd be interested to know, or off mute, if we're not on mic. Mike is the guy that's reading, just so you're clear, Karen. I'd be very interested to know if some of you have some very, funny sex stories. I mean, for an example, this isn't wildly hilarious, but it was funny at the time. I wasn't one to neck in cars when I was younger, but I did more when I was older. And I was with a lover. We're in the car, and she came at precisely the same moment that she inadvertently hit the horn. I kept laughing. It was so funny. But things like this happen all the time, tangling up. So does anyone have any stories that have happened that were fun sexually? Crickets.
I have one to share.
Yes,
so
please.
Mine is more just about my body. I started using a moon cup very late in life, did not know what that was. And for those who don't know, it is a way of catching the menstrual blood instead of having a tampon or a pad. And I was in Costa Rica, and it was extremely hot and extremely humid. And I was with my tantric lover at the time, and I could not get this moon cup out. Like, I was like trying to pry it out. And I was actually getting really stressed. And so I actually asked him to come in, because I didn't know anybody else in Costa Rica, right? So I asked him to come in, and it was like pliers almost trying to get this moon cup out. So it was, it was funny. We were able to laugh over it. I'm like, well, that was pretty close up intimate.
And if you can do that, you can do lots of things that are fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Anybody else? How about Laura Topper? You couple there must
I knew you were going to pick on me.
point right at you. Just point right at you.
Okay. Something funny. Our whole sex life is quite funny because we're not actually having much sex at the moment. So it's like, oh, this is really funny to be here talking about sex all night. So it feels like I need to kind of recalibrate my whole being into sex.
Well, if you can't do it, you might as well be talking about it. It's my
that's true. Yes. And thank you for Wendy for hosting this. It's brilliant.
It's great. It really puts a great spin on sexuality, and that it can be discussed, and we can have a lot of fun with it, and it doesn't have to be so serious. That's it can be. I mean, people think of it in so many different ways. Francesca was just amazing. I loved listening to her, and she's so funny. You can be really funny and present in that kind of thing as well.
I just want to add that really, you were saying, Laura, you're not having sex, but this can be sexual, right? This laughter is life force energy at its height, right? And just like you were saying, Karen, that the muscles to laugh are similar to the muscles to when we're having sex. So it's laughing with somebody, and even just ourselves, is really intimate, and it's sexual energy. It's that life force energy. So you two are having sex.
Now
We're all having sex.
the witnessing.
Do you want us to leave? Get a room. Get a room.
That's the first time I've done it in front of an audience.
What did you say, Jason? I didn't hear that. Say that again, Jason.
First time I've done it in front of an audience.
You kinky guy, you.
Miss Lolly.
Okay, this is sort of a funny story, but it's also a little bit pathetic. So this is like, this is a long, long time ago. And I had a male partner who had a bit of a drug problem, and like the kind of drugs that make you very relaxed. We'll go into it. But anyway, we were hot and heavy, or like I thought we were hot and heavy. And he was performing oral sex, and he was like very, very slow. And I was so into it because I thought, wow, this is like, I was in my 20s and I just thought, this is like so amazing. And I was like, sort of up top in my head, in my body, with my eyes closed, going, wow, like this guy is like so slow. He's so good. And then it sort of went from slow to nothing at all. And then I looked down and he had actually fallen asleep.
Oh.
I mean, he was under the influence of some drugs, but still, it was like, even then I thought, wow, this is so pathetically funny that we were in these two completely different places where I thought it was the most amazing thing. And he was just like trying to stay awake.
Oh dear. How about you, Wendy? Anything exciting going on in your world sometimes?
I'm trying to think of a funny story. You know what? I'm sure I have many. I'm sure, but nothing is coming to me right now. And
It's okay.
and we have one. Oh well, it's actually time is up.
That's
And
fine.
I don't want to.
I was hoping to fill it properly, so now I did. I did. Okay.
You did wonderfully, wonderfully. I want to keep laughing with you all. This has been just delightful. What a sweet time together. We're going to have to mute again, everyone. But first, I thank you, Karen. You're just a delight. I just love you. I'm so happy you're in my life.
Thank you for laughing with me. It was great fun. Bye-bye.